Welcome to the club! Hello everyone, and in this episode we are going to discuss To Kill a Mockingbird and chapters from 15 till 18. So I think we are going to start as usually from the summary. Dill is allowed to spend the summer in Maycomb with Jem and Scout. Atticus is told that Tom Robinson is being moved to the county jail and there may be trouble. Jem, Scout and Dill go downtown to see what's happening and find Atticus sitting outside Tom Robinson's cell. A group of men arrive to confront Atticus, but Scout talks to Walter Cunningham's father, causing the men to retreat. The next day, Atticus thanks the children for appearing when they did.
The trial begins. Atticus asks the children to stay away from the courthouse, but they do not listen to him and they can't find a seat in the courtroom, so a man offers them seats in the colored balcony, which they accept. Heck Tate is the first witness. He admits that a doctor was never called to the scene to examine Mayella Ewell. Atticus makes people think that Mr. Ewell himself could have beaten Mayella. Cross-examination of Mayella shows that she is lying. Scout notices that Tom's left arm was short and useless. He could not have committed the crime in the way it was described. Atticus knows that the case can't be won, but the children have some hope.
So let's discuss a little bit everything that's happening in this part. So of course the main thing is that the trial starts finally and we listen to many different witnesses. Of course, as we listen to their cross-examination, we understand clearly that Tom Robinson is not guilty. I think everyone understands that. All the people who are in the courtroom, but unfortunately we still remember when it happened and that the word of a white man was to be trusted and the word of a black man was nothing. I think even at those times when people were reading the book, like much earlier when it was released, when it was published, I think many people thought that the situation should be changed, that everything should be seen from the point of view not of a nationality, of a skin color, but from the point of view if the person is guilty, if the person has done something bad or not. And of course, the saddest part is that even from the very childhood, children saw this situation of the society being unfair to a person who is not guilty, and it hurt them a lot, seeing all this.
Well, yes, I agree. I absolutely agree with everything that you have said. The only thing that I want to add is about my general impression of these chapters, because this time it was so difficult for me to read. Maybe that was because of all the details about the trial, and for me it was quite difficult to picture it in my mind, even though I like films about courts and I watched a lot of them, really, I love, but I lost concentration very often when I read these chapters. There were quite many new characters there, and it was so difficult for me to understand who is who, because often they were someone from the court and it's difficult to understand their position, what they do, and taking into account that now probably the system is a bit different, so maybe we do not have such people now. Yes, and it was really crazy for me. I just couldn't understand who they were, who all these people were. And at the same time I was reading the book in Russian and there were also a lot of characters, so I was really lost because I did not understand who is who and their names. I remembered only the main characters. And also for me here it was difficult to read because of the language. What I mean is that here some characters speak with grammar mistakes,
yes.
And with orthographic, I can't say mistakes, but some orthographic peculiarities.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and it just distracts me because I start analyzing not the plot, not the events and their meaning for the whole story, but I start analyzing the language just because I'm interested in it, and I tried to stop myself because really it spoiled all the reading part, but I didn't succeed in it.
I agree with you. Sometimes I even didn't try to understand who is who, and I was just trying to concentrate on the characters I know and what's happening with them. And about the language, every time I thought there's something wrong, I just said to myself that it's just for the sake of showing the character and, for example, the language of colored people and the language of not very educated people. So, of course, I understood that it was done on purpose, but still, of course, I agree, it distracts a lot. I have only one abstract from this part that I would like to read and discuss. A mob always made up of people, no matter what. Mr. Cunningham was part of a mob last night, but he was still a man. Every mob in every little southern town is always made up of people you know. Doesn't say much for them, does it? There was this part when Atticus was near the cell of Tom Robinson, when he was moved to it, because they knew that there could happen something. And in fact, it happened so, because a group of people appeared when Atticus was there. Scout, Dill and Jem come to the rescue, so to say. And after that, when Atticus was discussing it, and he said these words about mobs. I'm kind of afraid of crowds. I usually try not to go to different holidays in the city, in the center of the city, when there are crowds of people, because I'm afraid that they might make me fall or step on me or something like that. And I'm sure you remember there was a very bad accident in South Korea last year during the celebration of Halloween. This tragedy happened because there was this moment, like coincidence, so to say, that the authorities said that, okay, the COVID limitations or restrictions are lifted and you can go anywhere you want. You can have groups as many people as you want, and many people were happy about that, and they decided, oh, it's great that we can celebrate Halloween just the way we did before or something like that. And that's why very many people went out to the streets, and the peculiarity of South Korea that there are very many narrow streets, very narrow streets, and it happened so that a very big amount of people went into that narrow street and they were stuck, and many people died because of that, and it's very sad. And knowing all of those examples of such situations, I am kind of afraid of crowds and try to avoid them. Of course, the situation that is described here is not about that, but about the fact that a person individually may be like a very nice person. But then when he joins some kind of a mob, some kind of a group of people, he or she starts to be very much influenced by those people. And even though a person you know, for example, in everyday life, he or she might start to act very much differently when he or she is part of a mob or a group. You might even think that you don't know this person at that moment, and it's kind of a very frightening thing for me, because when you see someone you know even well, for example, act in a way you have never thought this person can act, it's really frightening.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And I was trying to think of a situation that I had in my life like that. But I think that it happened a lot with me at school, but not so many times now.
What about school? What was in school?
Well, nothing in particular. I just remember that there were some people who were really nice when we talked to each other, like with no other people around us. But then when we were in the classroom full of other kids, other children, they were trying to be cool and to do some things that they never did before.
Yeah, I understand you, but still, I think school is the time when people are trying to find themselves. They are not like formed fully as individuals. That's why, well, it's kind of we can forget and forgive those situations. But here we're talking about like grown-up peoples who are already individuals, fully formed. Well, as for me, I think I'm always the same. No matter if I'm with the person or individually or if I'm in the group, even I try not follow the group if I think the group is wrong or something like that. I try to speak up my mind every time I feel like doing it, and if I feel that the group is doing something wrong, I try to talk about it or I try to leave this group. We can go to discussing the vocabulary. Frankly speaking, I have written out only 4 phrases or words from this part, but one has a very long explanation. Will you start, please?
Okay, the first word that I have is begrudge. To feel unhappy because someone has something that you think they do not deserve. This is Saturday, Satika said. Trial will probably be Monday. You can keep him one night, can't you? I don't think anybody in makeup will begrudge me a client with times this hard.
My first phrase is to come to a pretty pass, which means to reach a bad or regrettable state of affairs. They paraded by Mr. Sam Levy's house one night, but Sam just stood on his porch and told them things had come to a pretty pass. He'd sold them the very sheets on their backs.
The next word, terse. Using few words, sometimes in a way that seems rude or unfriendly. Dill was watching peacefully, and so was Reverend Sykes beside him. What is it? I whispered, and got a terse shh.
So my next one is this one phrase that has a very long explanation. So, a snipe hunt. A snipe hunt is a type of practical joke in which an unsuspecting victim is fooled into trying to catch a non-existent animal called a snipe. Although snipe are an actual family of birds, a snipe hunt is a quest for an imaginary creature whose description varies. The target of the prank is led to an outdoor spot and given instructions for catching the snipe. These often include waiting in the dark and holding an empty bag or making noises to attract the creature. The others involved in the prank then leave the newcomer alone in the woods to discover the joke.
Nice explanation.
Yes. So, I mean, in fact, you can think of a word sniper, and it also happens to has some connection with this snipe hunt or the bird snipe, because maybe the bird is very difficult to shoot. Hectates around somewhere. The hell he is, said another man. Hecks bunched so deep in the woods they won't get out till morning. Indeed? Why so? Called them off on a snipe hunt, was the succinct answer. Didn't you think that, Mr. Finch?
My next word is acrimonious, full of anger, arguments, and bad feeling. We could tell, however, when debate became more acrimonious than professional, but this was from watching lawyers other than our father.
My next word is kind of simple. It's akimbo. The meaning is with hands on the hips and elbows turned outwards. I just found it funny that there is one word in English. In Russian, it's like a whole phrase. She was now standing, arms akimbo, her shoulders drooping a little, her head cocked to one side, her glasses winking in the sunlight.
Okay, the next word that I have is tenet, and I looked it up. I copied the phrase from the book, and then I just remembered that there is a film by Christopher Nolan, Tenet.
Yes, tenet.
Like, why did I do everything? I knew this word, but just to refresh my memories.
Yes.
Tenet, it's one of the principles on which a belief or a theory is based. Never, never, never on cross-examination ask a witness a question you don't already know the answer to. Was a tenet I absorbed with my baby food.
And my last phrase is to give somebody the time of day, which means to pay attention to someone, usually used in negative statements. Mr. Ewell seemed determined not to give the defense the time of day.
And I have one more word. It is riled. It means angry because of something someone has done or said. Does he ever go after you? How you mean? When he's riled, has he ever beaten you?
Okay guys, thanks for watching this episode. We are looking forward to see you next time. So live long.
And don't send people on snipe hunts.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Ну давай тогда ты trial begins начнешь.
You will. Сейчас еще раз. Hectate.
Подожди, я там влезла. But I don't know what to add. I don't know what else. It was part of a mob. Sorry, again. Еще раз. What do you think? What?
Вот я еще не поняла, что это. Я просто не помню этот момент. Если бы я его помнила, я бы сказала, что это к чему относится. Я думала, что это бигранжа, но это биграджа. Это типа a terse, an adjective and
yes,
sh.
And sh. That's why. Because. Охота на лоха. Чего?
Нет, нормально. Я просто ждала продолжения.
Нет, все.
Acrimonious. Правильно, да. Full of anger, arguments and... Ё-моё. Does he ever go after you? How you... Ну, потому что неправильно написано.
We're going... Please. Подождите.